Hello, this is Patricia from patriciafenty.com, and today I have a tutorial on how to crochet these really pretty and colorful motifs that you can put over top of rocks. This is such a fun tutorial. I'm really excited to share it with you. I think these would make fabulous gifts. You could crochet up a basket full. You could make them for craft fairs or to give away to your special friends. And it's quite an easy pattern to do. I do suggest you have a little bit of crochet experience because working with the finer thread can be a little bit tricky, but the stitches are basic. These crochet up very quickly. And so let's get started. Now the supplies you need for this project, you can use either a cotton thread, and this is a number 10 cotton thread. There's also a heavier cotton thread. This is a number 3. And that would just make your motif a little bit bigger. I used the cotton thread for this rock here. And then you can also use embroidery thread. And I use that on this rock here. And the nice thing about the embroidery thread is that there are a lot of colors to choose from and you just get a small skein. I got all mine from the thrift store, so I don't have brand names. This is actually a vintage thread. And then we're going to use a 2mm, a crochet hook, some scissors, and a darning needle. Now you're also going to need a rock. And the best size for this pattern motif is roughly 3 inches in diameter, or 7.5 centimeters. And this here is roughly the same size rock, but there's a difference in the depth. And I'll just show you how it fits differently. So this piece is quite flexible. So you can see here it fits quite nicely over top of that 3-inch rock. And you just sort of adjust it to fit, and in the back we'll be gathering and pulling this tight and snugging it up in the back. But you can see here that it will also fit onto this thicker rock, but it's a bit of a snug fit. And in a case like this, you may want to add an extra round, and I'll show you how to do that in the tutorial. So see, that just fits. So I would add one more round of this last round, and I'll show you how you can do that. But you can see it fits here on an oval shaped rock. So it doesn't have to be perfectly round. It can be an oval shape as well. And so this one is just a little bit snug. So if it were a flatter rock, it would fit nicely. But again, on this one, I would add another round of this last round in order for it to tuck in behind nicely. But you can see the size of rock, roughly a 3-inch diameter round or oval would work. And this here was made with the number 10 cotton thread. So this motif is just a little bit smaller. So I would go no bigger than a 3-inch rock for that one. So let's get started on the motif. All right, so we're going to start with a slip knot. Now, if you're new to crochet, I do have my beginner crochet series, but I do suggest that you have some experience with crochet to do this pattern, because working with a small thread is a little bit awkward at first. So you need to have a little bit of experience with that. So you'll put your slip knot on your hook. You can do it any way that you like. Set up your tension, and we'll begin with a chain 6. So yarn over, pull the yarn through your loop, yarn over, pull it through your loop, and that's 3, and that's 4, 5, and 6. So 6 chains. Now, if you want to make the center of the flower a little bit bigger, you can make a chain 7 or a chain 8 if you like. That's totally up to you. And then you're going to create a ring by doing a slip stitch into the top loop of the first chain that you created. Yarn over, pull through that loop and the loop on your hook. Now you will chain 3. and this counts as your first double crochet. And so there's a chain 3, and then you'll do a double crochet into the center of that ring. So yarn over, put your hook into the center of the ring, grab your yarn from behind, pull your yarn through. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And that's your first 2 double crochet cluster. Then you'll chain 3, and you'll do a set of 2 double crochets into the ring. So yarn over, go into the ring, work your double crochet, and then another double crochet into the ring, and then chain 3. And you will repeat that all the way around. You'll do 6 more, 2 double crochet, chain 3, 2 double crochet, chain 3. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you at the end. Now coming to the end of round 1, you'll have 8 clusters of 2 double crochets and finishing with a chain 3. And you'll join this round by going into the 3rd chain. So 1, 2, 3, into the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 3, going under 2 loops of that, yarn over, pull the yarn through those loops. It's a bit of a tight stitch. Whoops, I lost a bit of my ply there. And then through the loop on your hook, and that's a slip stitch. Then cut your tail and fasten off and tighten that up. Now for round 2, starting with a new color, you'll create a slip knot, and I've gone ahead and darned in my tail ends already. You put that on your hook, and then going in between any 2 double crochets, you'll join on in between those 2 stitches of that double crochet cluster, and we'll join on with a single crochet. So you yarn over, pull the yarn from behind, flip your tail over, whoops, there we go, flip your tail over. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and that's joining on with a single crochet. Then you'll go over to your chain 3 space, and you'll work 5 double crochets into that chain 3 space. And that's going to create the petal of the flower. So there's 1 and 2. And again, if you're new to crochet, I do have my beginner crochet series. The link for that is in the description box below, as is the written pattern for this tutorial. So there's 3, and that's 4. And 1 more makes 5. And then you'll have a 2 double crochet cluster, and you'll go in between those 2 stitches and do a single crochet to anchor down your petal. And so that is the pattern for this round. So you'll just carry on, and you'll do 5 double crochets into the chain 3 space, and then a single crochet between the 2 double crochet cluster, and then 5 double crochets and a single crochet between the clusters. Then you'll repeat that all the way around, and you'll have 8 petals all together. Great. Now coming to the end of round 2, I've just done my 5 double crochets into that last chain 3 space, and then you'll join by doing a slip stitch into the back of that beginning single crochet with a slip stitch. Just like that. And then you can cut your tail, fasten that off, pull that through, and go ahead and darn in your tail end. And it'll be kind of wonky like this, but it'll flatten out later on. Now joining on with your 3rd color, Again, you'll create a slip knot and we're going to join with a single crochet. So put that on your hook. And then joining into the top of any one of these single crochet stitches, going under both loops, you join on with a single crochet. So I find these fine yarns a little hard to work with. So grab the yarn from behind, bring that through the stitch, flip your tail over, you'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through those 2 loops. And that's joining into the single crochet with a single crochet. Now you'll chain 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoopsie, 6, and one more makes 7. Then you'll skip the petal there and go into the next single crochet, going into the top of that single crochet, going under both loops, and you'll do a single crochet. And then you'll just repeat that all the way around, and you'll chain 7, and then 7, and then you'll skip the petal and go over to the single crochet and do a single crochet, go under both loops of that single crochet, there we go, and do a single crochet. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around, working this little chain stitch on top of your petals, and I'll see you over there. Welcome back. So coming to the end of round 4, I've just done my chain 7, and you'll join into the base of that single crochet that you joined on with, and just going kind of in behind it there, picking up 2 loops, and do a slip stitch to join this round. There we go. So now we'll slip stitch over into this chain 7 space. So go into the chain 7 space with your hook, yarn over, pull the yarn through and through the loop on your hook, and you're over into that chain 7 space. So now you'll chain 3, and this counts as a double crochet, and then chain 2 more, and that counts as a chain 2 space. Then we'll do a double crochet into that chain 7 space and a chain 2, and then another double crochet into that chain 7 space and a chain 2. So essentially you have 3 double crochets, chain 2 into that chain 7 space. Then you go over to the next chain 7 space and you'll do 3 double crochet chain 2s into this same chain 7 space. So there's the first double crochet chain 2, here's the second double crochet chain 2, and then the third double crochet and chain 2. So you'll repeat that all the way around, working 3 double crochet chain 2s into each chain 7 space, and we'll see you at the end. Now coming to the end of round 4, I've just done my last double crochet chain 2, and we'll join this round by going into the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 5. So find the 3rd chain and pick up 2 stitches of that chain and do a slip stitch. Now for round 5, you'll slip stitch into that first chain 2 space just to get you over into the space. and then you'll chain 2, which counts as a half double crochet, and then a chain 1. Then you'll go over into the next chain 2 space, and you'll yarn over, and you'll do a half double crochet. So yarn over, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops for a half double crochet, and then chain 1. Then over to the next chain 2 space, you'll do a half double crochet, so yarn over, you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and a chain 1. And over to the next space, you'll do your half double crochet and a chain 1, and you'll work that all the way around. And you can see the motif is a little wonky right now because once you fit it over the rock, it will shape. It'll make a very nice shape and flatten out. So carry on doing a half double crochet, chain 1 in every chain 2 space, and we'll see you at the end. Welcome back. So here we are at the end of round 5. I've just done my half double crochet, chain 1 in the last chain 2 space, and you'll join this round by going into the second chain of your beginning chain 3 and do a slip stitch, picking up 2 loops of that chain. Now at this point, if you were working with a larger rock, you would just slip stitch over to your chain 1 space, and you would repeat this round doing a half double crochet, chain 1 in each chain 1 space. And what that'll do is it'll give you an extra round so that you can pull this over a larger size rock. But we're going to stop here. So I'm going to cut myself a tail, so maybe 7 inches or so, because we're going to use it for a gathering stitch. So cut your tail and pull that through and snug that up. And I'll just bring the camera out and I'll show you how to fit this around the rock. All right, so you want to darn in all your tail ends before we move on to the next step. And you can see how this already has sort of a cup shape. So next we're going to create a gathering stitch, which will help us gather this around the rock. So you're just going to put your thread onto the darning needle, and then you have the yarn, when you fasten off, the yarn will naturally go in a direction. So just stitch in that direction. And all you'll do is you're just going to weave in and under of those chain 1 spaces, and you'll just baste over and under all the way around, going in and or over and under those chain 1 spaces. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so here we are at the end, and I'm going to finish off with a basting stitch going to the inside of the motif. And so now you have a gathering stitch, and so then you'll just take your rock and fit the motif over top of your rock. And what you'll do afterwards is you'll fuss with these little double crochets to line them up evenly depending on the shape of your rock, but just fit it on for now and flip it over. And then you can begin to pull. Here we go. So just pull that thread and see how that starts to tighten the motif around the rock and gathering that around the back of the rock. Now you don't want to pull it too tight because the motif will stretch out a little bit too much and it'll look very tight. So you just sort of want to play around and fiddle with it and make sure it's a nice tension around the rock and nice and even. And then once you have it to the fitting the way you want. I just snug that up a little bit more. Then all you need to do is do a couple of stitches to secure the fastening, to secure the gathering stitch. So, and then you could knot it here. I'm not going to knot mine because I might have to do some retakes, but you would just tie a knot and then darn in your tail end, and there you go. And it's all done. Isn't that so sweet? Okay, so I have gone ahead and knotted off and darned in my tail end, and you can just move these around a little bit. It depends on the shape of your rock. You just want to even out all those double crochets. This is your joining one, that doesn't move, but all the other ones you can move them around and even them out. And they move around quite easily. And then just by pulling that over the rock, it flattens out the motif and shapes it nicely. If you want, you could use a little hand steamer and steam this a little flatter if you like, but I think it looks good just like that. So there you go, that's all done. And here are the other rocks and their color combinations. So you can use any number of color combinations and make up a whole basket full of these, and they're just so much fun. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this. And of course, I always have the written pattern to all my tutorials in the description box below. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time.